Hey guys, and welcome to my tutorial on how to speedrun Twisted Metal 3. This is going to be the first video in a series of videos I'm going to be making on how to speedrun various categories that I like to run in the Twisted Metal series, as I didn't really see much on tutorials on how to speedrun these games. So in this one, I'm going to be going over with you guys some basic techs for all characters pretty much in speedrunning TM3. I'm going to be going over some of the meta characters, as well as who I would recommend for just if you're just starting out speedrunning the game. I'm going to be going over specific level strats and weapon routes for each level in the tournament mode, as well as some of the quote-unquote glitches that you can do in the speedruns here. And generally speaking, we're just going to be going over a lot of the basic stuff that you guys need to know for speedrunning this game. So let's go ahead and move on to Hollywood here. This will be the first level I'll show you guys. So Hollywood doesn't have too much special about it. Mainly speaking, you're going to want to just pay attention to this weapon route here. Of these weapons that are around this ramp, so that napalm, fire, the remote, this homing missile, and these power missiles here. That is the most basic strategy I can give for Hollywood. As I said, there's not too much special to it. The one thing I will advise you guys on is, especially if you're playing on Cream Puff or Twisted Metal difficulty, for some reason the AI likes to just randomly go through this portal, so you might just do it here, and they like to turbo off the ramp over to this cliff here. They don't really do it for any specific reason, but they will kind of just get away from you, and it just wastes time, so keep that in mind. And that's kind of it for Hollywood, at least when it comes to the general strats. So let's go ahead and move on to Washington. Alright, so in Washington, a lot of the times you're actually going to spawn right here on this spot that I'm at right now. First thing I'd always recommend is reversing and getting that napalm, especially before Roadkill gets it. But then I usually like to go after all of the homing and fire missiles, as well as the napalms that are kind of scattered around the map. This is about how I would go after them. And because this level is so wide open, it's a really good... It's just kind of a good map, a good easy map to get used to here. You can see him just kind of kicking Roadkill's ass. And let me go ahead and switch over to tournament mode so I can show you guys some strats for Darktide. Alright, so, as Darkside comes around, obviously you want to be well stocked on weapons for any boss fight.
You're not getting off that easy.
Now, with Darkside specifically, his special is obviously a freeze flamethrower. So what you want to do is kind of stay to the sides or back of him and try to get him to flip as much as you can so that he doesn't spam your special. He does have the potential to sort of infinitely freeze you until you die, essentially, so do keep that in mind. Generally why you want to keep that, and he won't really ever fire his special from behind him. He can, but it is very, very rare that you will see that. But generally speaking, yeah, that's about the only strategy for Darkside is stay away from his front and tip him over a lot. He's not the hardest person to tip over, so easy peasy. And we can just kind of swiftly move on into the Hangar 18 strategies. Now, the only real strategy here is this jump right here. This jump with the portal kind of on the other side where this health is. You're going to want to jump into that portal. So, I like to use invisibility, just so the AI kind of leaves you alone a little bit. And then you jump right before you hit, or right as you hit that ramp. It should fling you up, just like it did for me. This is how you get up here without having to destroy all the lasers down at the bottom. It also prevents the AI from like following you up here, because your main strategy, as you probably guessed, is to use the spaceship. Now, once you have a spaceship, you want to try and quickly make sure that your enemies are within this ring. See how Flower Power and Augur are not within that ring? They would not die from this attack if I did that. So you want to get them as close to the ship here as possible, so that you can just kind of nuke them all. Now, in this case, Augur and Thumper didn't die, and they may have been outside of that or range to deal with that. But that is generally the strategy for Hangar 18. If you do it correctly, everyone in the map should kind of die pretty quickly. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to North Pole. Alrighty, so in North Pole, the thing that I like to do the most is get to the center platform as quickly as possible. There isn't a whole big weapon route, but you're always welcome, of course, to pick up weapons as you head over here. But I would definitely recommend heading over to the center bit of the map first to grab this lightning, and try to grab as many of these pickups in this center area as possible, while trying to destroy as much of the stuff that's here. The reason why you want to do this is because you tend to want to hang around this center area for a good portion of the level, and having everything destroyed makes navigating it a little bit easier. Because what I like to do is get my opponent to this center bit, and then just let loose with a lightning. The closer they are to that present, the more damage they will take from them. And then generally speaking, you kind of have open range on them. If they are in that center bit, they're within your range pretty much wherever you are on the map, so it does make them a little bit easier to hit. Now, in the tournament mode, there is a regen for it, and assuming you're not too quick, which we want, you could usually get 2 lightning pickups every run. Now, you want to try to use one for the beginning wave, the first 4, and then one for the 2 that come during, or the 2 enemies you'll have during the regen. So let's go ahead and move on to London and Moon. So for London, what I like to try and do is keep my enemies in either one of 2 places.
Say hi to an old friend of mine.
One is in this sort of like green courtyard area, because there's a lot of good weapon pickups to use here. These ones here, like these homing missiles and napalms, these homing missiles, there's some fire missiles and some water as well here. And the other place I'd like to keep them around is this courtyard over here. There's some remote bombs under this pillar, 2 fire missile pickups, a homing, a mortar, and another homing on the other side there. I believe there's also a napalm to my, which direction would I go? Right there. There's some napalms right here as well. This is where the best of the weapon pickups, in my opinion, are. And also this little street here that's in between these 2 areas is really nice for congesting. As you can see here, getting congested is especially if you're doing minion or just high armor character runs in general. It's a great place to kind of just like get the AI to fight you and itself for a little while, because they will kill each other pretty quickly doing this. Just keep in mind that your health will also be going down quite a lot. So, don't neglect it like I've been doing. Alright, let's move on to Minion. Okay, so here we are with Minion. Now, one thing I like to point out before is I like to try, I didn't get it here, but I like to try to be in this area when he spawns, because then there's a small chance that he'll go through the portal that leads right here. It makes him a little bit easier to find. We'll go ahead and just do this. Now with Minion, you want to kind of stay away from his front and his back, and you want to, again, like with Darkseid, kind of bully him a little bit. Keep him tipping over a lot. I don't know why, but it seems to prevent him from shooting his special. Keeping on his side does it a little bit better, but, you know, just kind of being an asshole to him kind of works too. As you can see here, he's just kind of being a pushover a little bit, so easy enough. And we'll move on straight into Tokyo. Now with Tokyo, the main strat you're going to want to start off with is getting radar dish right away.
I love the rooftops of Tokyo. Such a high-tech city. It's too bad the volcano erupted and flooded the streets.
Up here, I like to grab these homing missiles on the way up there just because they're nice to have. I can actually grab them. Now be careful, sometimes the AI will try to steal it from you. I don't know why they do this because I can't use it, but they do try to do that. Now, what I like to do here is I will go to the higher armor characters and try to lure them close to the satellite. If you can't get everyone close to the satellite for this, then I would just recommend trying to get like the higher armor characters if you can. Now we've got 3 of them here, and they're all kind of coalescing around me. So check out where the radar is aiming. Just kind of watch it, and then when you see them kind of group together, just fire it out like that. You can sometimes get all 4 of them if you get really lucky. 2 to 3 of them, though, is perfectly fine. They are hounding me with the freeze missiles right now. But generally speaking, you want to get as many of them grouped together as you can. Alright, and I will come back to you guys after the regen on Tokyo, which is where the next strat will come to play. Alright, welcome back to Tokyo, and so when you get this regeneration activated, what I'll do usually is bust open this, grab these power missiles, and I will wait for whoever spawns down there to come up here, at the very least. Alright, and then you're gonna jump over the fan, and you're gonna wait. I like to shoot my machine guns to get their attention. You see Firestarter coming down here, we're gonna get him in this fan. Just like that. And then you just deal with the last AI character in whatever way that you can. If you want to try to push them into the fan, that works. If you just want to kick their ass like I'm doing here, that works too. Ooh, easy. And that's kind of about it for Tokyo. Again, get the radar first. Try to get as many people as you can in the radar fire. And then once the regen happens, try to do the what I call fan strat, where again you just kind of wait for them to come around. They will almost always drive over this fan for some reason, so yeah, shoot that out and get them in there. You can also bump them in like that too. Alright, so let's move on into Egypt. Now with Egypt, you can do what I'm about to do in reverse order, but you're going to be going into the pyramid, into there, as kind of your main strats. So what I like to do, before I do any of that, especially if you're on Twisted Metal difficulty, is I like to grab all the health right away. Reason why is because I have noticed that the AI will cooperate with you a little bit more frequently if there's not health to go after. So I find that's what they tend to break off with you from. So what you're going to do, and again, you don't have to do this in the order that I do it, but the first thing I like to do is go over to this little statue right here, blow it up, get into this little thing here, and then try to hang on the edge until everybody gets in this pit with them. This pit will take you to the lightning room that's on the other side of the map. And thank goodness they're actually cooperating for this tutorial. That's cool. So once you get everybody in here, everybody's trapped in here, right? Now you want them, again, to be as close to the center of this room as possible. And then just zap them. Sometimes, if you're lucky, the AI will fall out of the map when you do this, which is always a nice thing to happen. And boom, you have just gotten the first half of Egypt completed. The second half is a little bit tougher. Blast out of here, and you go back to the pyramid. Now we're going to grab the eye off of the top of the pyramid, which is a special weapon for this level. So once you grab the eye, Cloakid's actually going to be helping us out with this, looks like. You want to place it right at the front of this door here, and then wait for the AI to get in front of it. This is just like with the radar in Tokyo. You want to make sure that there are as many people as possible in front of this thing when you do this. Kid, again, kind of helping us out with that. Boom. So you want to blast them a couple times. The eye. And hopefully you can get them grouped together close enough to where it actually kills them. Again, keep an eye on the healths here. It's not necessarily game over if you cannot kill them with the eye, but it is ideal to get as many in the eye as possible. Alright, and I will meet up with you guys for the blimp and for our last level strat. Alright, so on Blimp there is a mechanic in the level where the game wants you to blow up, I believe it's 5 lasers, in order to stop getting the AI to respawn every time you kill them. We're not going to do that. Instead, do you see that guarded laser over there? We're going to go invisible, turbo at it as fast as we can, and fire a weapon at the very last second. There is a glitch in the game to where your character model will very briefly go behind those lasers to where you can shoot it, instead of having to go after the 5. Right after you get that laser glitch to work, which I would say it works with Minion close to every time. With other characters, it varies on how often it works for you. But I like to grab the lightning right after, head right back up to the center area, and go into this red room. Rear fire your lightning twice, and that should hit quite a number of them pretty hard. I just progress through the level as normal. I'll just kind of do this real quick. A good time to mention as well, if you do need weapons, because ideally the lightning should kill a good number of them. This time it didn't. But this room right here with the boxes is your gold mine for weapons in this level. Now grab these remotes that are in this box from here, but don't use any of them. We're going to be saving those for Primeval. Alright. I will just meet you guys back here once Primeval is ready to spawn. So, once Primeval spawns, I want you to grab your remotes and go behind this pit right about here.
I'd like you to meet an acquaintance.
Start shooting your machine guns so that he notices you, I guess.
He's not as friendly as the other.
And wait for him to turn this corner. Once he turns this corner, go ahead and shoot a freeze missile at him. And then place your remote next to him, and it should blow him into the pit, just like that. It won't always work. This is actually my 4th take of having to do that trick. And for this next section here, I'm going to be going over some general tips and tricks that work mostly for all characters in the game. So what we're going to do is, firstly I'm going to show you guys napalm and mortar ramming. So you can do this again with either mortars or napalms. I'm just using my native character Sweet Tooth for this as an example. I'm going to go right up into their face and just hit them with the napalms like that. And you can do this with mortars as well. Like that. This is a very, very valuable trick. As you can see, Mr. Grimm's health just completely got wasted there. And you generally want to do this instead of trying to fire the mortars or napalms in a regular manner. Now, you can get good at aiming with the mortars and the napalms, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for speedrunning. This next trick that I'm going to teach you is what's called rear spam. Let me just grab some weapons here really quickly and explain this. So the rear fire in this game, which is a D-pad command of left, right, down, allows you to fire your weapons faster than you could normally fire them simply by pressing L2 or whatever your firing button is. There's an example of what I mentioned with the Hollywood trap. So I'll go ahead and freeze screen here, and we'll just unload these fire missiles on them. As you can see, it lets me fire a lot faster. Now you can do this with any weapon in the game. And yeah, works very well. With Club Kid, this strategy can be used in tandem with his special. What you do is you place down one of his tornadoes, gas just a little bit forward ahead, use your rear view mirror, and rear spam either napalms or mortars. If you have fire and homing missiles, that also works. But it is ideal with the napalms and mortars, and that is the general Club Kid strategy. It does take a while to get used to and to get good at it. Once you do get good at it, boy, is it a good strategy. So this next strategy that I'm going to be showing you guys is called remote ramming. Now, to kind of briefly explain this before I show you guys, what this does is there is a quirk with the AI to where if you are going head-on at one another and you start turboing, for some reason the AI will also turbo back at you, and you can use this to your advantage by getting a bit of ram damage along with a remote bomb, which can be really nice, especially for the lower armor characters, say like Club Kid, Spectre, Mr. Grimm, Flower Power, and Firestarter specifically. So I'll show you guys kind of how that looks. We'll go ahead, we'll grab our remote bombs. We even have Club Kid here, so this could work really well. So Club Kid here, you know, I can get him to do this. Go head on, you'll see turbo at me, and that's how you do it. You want to hit the remote bomb right before, or right before or right as you hit each other. I'll try to see if I can do this one more time. There he goes. Actually, they both did it. But for some, yeah, I don't know why the AI has this tendency. But as you guys can see, 2 of those got Club Kid about 2/3 of his health down. And yeah, that is remote bombing. And this last tip here is more of just a general thought to keep in mind when you're speedrunning. But the 2 things that I mentioned there, the rear spam and then these freeze missiles, you want to kind of try to find a good balance for your playstyle in how to use them. Personally, I like to use freeze missiles first, and then I'll use my rear spam. For 2 reasons. One, it's easier to keep track of your energy for rear spamming because you generally will always have a little bit to use. But also, it's just good practice to kind of freeze somebody, drive a little bit past them, and then just kind of rear spam them with homing missiles, fire missiles. If you have Warthog or Minion or Spectre special, then you can also do it with those as well. Now, to finish this tutorial up, one other thing that I really wanted to mention that I've kind of forgot to at the beginning, you'll see here on my menu that I currently have the in-game menu on. I activate this as you go into settings, and you see down here at the bottom, in-game menu. You want to have this activated for speedruns, simply because it cuts load times down by about, I want to say, 1.5 to 2 seconds. So having that on helps for speedrunning, and also it makes it to where when you quit out of the game, you don't get another loading screen. It just goes straight back to the menu, so it just makes it a little bit, more convenient for when you do resets. And one other thing that I wanted to mention is if you're using live splits for Twisted Metal 3, this is my live split timer here. If you're using the Twisted Metal 3 on live splits, there is an auto splitter made by the great Nico Hart. That is very helpful for keeping track of your times. Now, your timer is not necessarily required to submit runs, but it is always nice to have to keep track of your times. Alrighty guys, and that is going to do it for my Twisted Metal 3 speedrunning tutorial. I will be posting a separate video for Twisted Metal 3 All Cheats, which is another category that I run. But thank you for watching, and if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to stick them in the comments, and I will try my best to answer any questions you guys might have that I might not have gone over in this video. Thanks again, and have a great day, evening, afternoon, whatever it is in your part of the world. See you later.